All right, welcome everyone. Hello. Welcome to the SoCal AI podcast, where we dive into the future of AI and how it's impacting small to medium businesses. I'm your host, Edgar, along with my partner, Luis, and we're going to talk to business owners and entrepreneurs about their field of expertise. Hey, Cary, thank you for making the time today.
Thanks, no problem. Happy to help.
Yeah, so we've been checking out Club X. We love how it's a private, community focused gym. And we also understand that you're a former pro athlete, and you must have built
It
it.
was such a
Yeah,
long time ago, I almost forget.
yeah,
But yeah, I
yeah,
used to play professional tennis.
yeah. So, yeah, why don't you talk to us a little bit about that? How are things in Coral Gables these days?
Well, you want to know about how this club came about or
Yeah,
how
whatever you want to start with. Give us a
became
little bit
about?
of background on yourself.
Okay, well, I grew up. I played tennis. I played tennis in college. Luckily, I was good enough to at least attempt the pro tour. I played on the tour for 4 or 5 years. Did all right. Nothing to write home about in terms of I'm clearly not world famous. There's a modicum of success, but not enough success where I retired at 35 with millions of dollars in the bank. So at about 29, 30, I decided I think I probably need to pursue an actual career of some kind outside of playing tennis. So I fell into the fitness industry. My father was going to go join a Gold's Gym, and I went with him to make sure he didn't get ripped off, because that was the reputation back in 92, 93, that like, oh, you better be careful, et cetera, et cetera. So I went there. They had a help wanted sign on the desk, and I got talking to the manager while I was there, the owner, I guess. And I said, you know what, I'll do it. I'll. They offered me a job. I said I'll do this front desk thing while I figure out what I want to do. I'll have a free membership, and from there, I don't know. In a month, they made me general manager. In 2 or 3 months, I met someone who was opening a club in South Beach, and they kind of recruited me to come there. And he I met him at a conference, and we had a long discussion over dinner, and he just kind of, I guess he was impressed with what I was saying, and gave me the opportunity to really run his club and become his. Over time, I became the managing partner of that, where we expanded it to 5 clubs. We then sold that to Crunch. That was when Crunch was a high-end club, and they're not
Yeah.
before they went into the low end. So we actually had a bidding war between Crunch and Equinox to buy us.
Really? Wow. Equinox.
I didn't want to sell, but it wasn't my money. I thought we were very, very well known.
Hmm.
South Beach, that was the heyday of South Beach back in the early to mid 90s. So it was something that being 29, 30 years old, 31, I was more of the idea that, geez, we should do that. We're doing a great job. Can't we hold on to this? But the money guy, he's like, I got all my money. I've made all my money back out. I want to sell. I don't want to be in the fitness business anymore. So that's kind of how that evolved. In a very quick period of 4 or 5 years, I was able to go from being a novice to having built a gym, from one very successful gym to 4 very successful gyms that we were able to then
Wow.
obviously sell to someone else. I stepped away though, because one of the conditions of the original purchase was they wanted me to stay on as the GM, but I would be answering to people in New York. And for me, my one question to them was, you're buying a business that I've turned into a multi-million-dollar enterprise, and it's because of what I've done, and you're going to have me report to somebody and
Yeah.
them tell me how to run this club now? And I said, it doesn't sit with me very well, because you're buying what I created, and then yet you're going to take away control from me. So I said, I don't want to be part of the deal, because originally I was supposed to stay on for a year, and then they had to renegotiate it, because I was like, I'm not going to stay on for a year at all. I'm just going to, so I discussed it with my partner, and, so I just left then, and they finished up the negotiations over the next 6 to 9 months. And, I think the deal was closed late 95. And so I kind of went back into tennis at that point. I had a couple offers to come and be general managers at a club, but I was kind of a little bit disillusioned
Hmm.
because I didn't want to go to the suburbs and like see the same people every day. I was on South Beach, which was, obviously in the 90s was as everyone and their brother went through South Beach. You name it. If they were famous, they weren't famous, they were there and they went to our club. So I was kind of like, I'm never going to have that environment again. Why would I want to be in the suburbs and see the same 85 people every single day of my life? I can't do this. So I went back and I started coaching some players on tour, both in
Cool.
the world tour of juniors as well as the ATP and WTA tours. And, then I got into management of facilities, of tennis facilities, because I had a friend that had contracts at like 3 or 4 places, but he was struggling to run the business. He was an on-court kind of guy, in terms of a tennis pro. Didn't really have a business mind. So I partnered with him, and then we expanded that. We had contracts, I don't know, like 8 or 10 different facilities.
Hmm.
And then so a lot of those ended up including fitness again, because it wasn't just tennis. We were doing it at, I guess, pre-planned communities where they, it's pretty common now. You build a big community of 200, 300, 400 houses, whatever it is, and you build a clubhouse with a pool, a tennis courts, and fitness. So we had the contracts to operate the fitness and the tennis, and so I kind of fell back into fitness again. It just
Just when you thought you were out, they pull you back
Well,
in.
yeah, a little bit. I just never was out, but I just, it's the same business, right? It's just a different service you're providing. You're providing personal training, or you're providing tennis lessons. You're providing massage therapy, or you're providing training for competitive athletes. It's all the same. It's more about organizing and how you present and the people that you put in place to provide those services. So it's really the same business. You just you're doing a different service.
And that kind of
I just
bring
I trended into consulting more than I did operating, but I don't know, every year or so, one of the consulting jobs would want me to stay on and become either their partner or be the general manager, or, because they didn't think they could do it themselves. So, here and there I would take those jobs short term, like for 6 or 9 months, rather than, a 2 or 3 week consulting job. And so, I would dip my toes in and operate a club. And then I would take a break and go travel and coach some players. And then I would take another one, So in between traveling for tennis, I was also consulting for clubs. And it just kind of, it all kind of fell together. And then, life happens. You have kids and all that kind of stuff. So the travel became less because my ex-wife didn't really like me traveling a lot. So
Yeah.
I made that decision to go back more into fitness, since that didn't require as much travel.
Yeah, Cary, so I was curious, how did you decide to offer additional services? Like we noticed you have nutritional services, massage therapy, even martial arts, which is pretty cool.
Well, I think as the world has evolved, so has the fitness industry, right? So if you're just offering memberships, how are you going to make money? The only way you make money by selling just memberships is to have way too many people in the club. So you have to have services, right? And honestly, the real revenue from a gym is personal services, personal training, massage therapy, nutritional counseling, whatever it is. Small group training is obviously a big thing now. So you got it. It's one thing to get the people to pay on a monthly basis, whatever your membership rate is. It's another to have them paying for premium services. The premium services is your profit. You got to design your business, any kind of business that has recurring revenue, that the recurring revenue pays your monthly nut, right? Everything else should be profit.
Add-ons
So
are profit, yeah.
So
So
if you don't have the revenue to pay your rent, your payroll, all the utilities, etc., and you're eating into your profit, well, now you're in a difficult position in terms of being profitable and viable for long term.
yeah, absolutely. So we did notice that you have a 750 member limit on your
Uh-huh.
gym, and I think that's brilliant. Anytime I see that kind of limit, it just
Yeah,
screams
you
like
don't see it too often. What's funny is I've been doing that in clubs that I've been involved with since '96.
yeah, it just screams like exclusivity, right? And people want to be a part of it.
Right. Well, I've always thought that, look, I understand the low cost gyms. I don't know how they make money. In all honesty, they don't. They're
Crunch,
commodities.
Planet Fitness, all that, right? Yeah.
Well, they're commodities. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look, almost all of them are publicly traded companies, right? So in the fitness industry, those clubs, and I'm not going to mention any of them, everybody knows who they are. Those clubs are traded, and they always have a new venture capitalist come in, opens up new clubs, acquires other clubs, so the revenue goes up, and so the stock goes up. Nobody ever looks at the bottom line of how much money it's costing them, and they all collapse eventually.
How much
And
they're
I
bleeding.
go back to Bally's Scandinavian. It's all going to collapse at some point. It's usually the fourth or fifth venture capitalist that comes in, or hedge fund that comes in. It's the first three or four make money as the growth, but nobody's paying attention that there's no profit. It's just revenue increases, but the profit's not increasing. So, there's not enough. If you don't have auxiliary streams of revenue, you cannot make money in the fitness business as a low-cost model. It's not possible. But they all keep doing it.
Yeah. What kind of feedback loops or metrics do you use to measure satisfaction?
Metrics, to be honest with you, that's a feel thing. I mean, there is no metric. You know what the metric is? People don't quit your gym.
Low turn.
Your recidivism rate, your back door is not bigger than your front door. I mean, we don't get, because I don't run specials, we don't run deals, we don't run anything, never have, we don't even advertise. So in this particular club, I always gain more than I lose every single month since we've been open.
Wow.
And maybe it's only two or three memberships a month sometimes. Maybe it's 6, maybe it's 7. But we never lose. There's never been a month since we opened in 2012 that we have less members the following month than the previous month. It's never been that way.
Wow.
Once.
That's it. Yeah, and that's actually
Well, I mean, but because
rare.
you know how we lose members? We lose members when they die.
Oh, wow.
I'm not joking.
I hate to laugh, but that's a really good.
Well, but that should be your goal. Your goal should be don't lose them until they can't come to you anymore.
Yeah.
Obviously, we do lose a handful because they move or they become physically incapacitated, whatever. But once they find this, they don't leave. And that should be the goal of any business. How do you think restaurants survive? If you're not in a tourist area, how does a restaurant survive? Coming to you on a regular basis because you did something good. So, if you're not good in a restaurant, they're not coming back. How many chances does a restaurant get to win a business? Probably one.
Right.
Fitness,
First
you have a
impressions
chance
matter.
to lose the customer every single day. You probably only have 1 or 2 opportunities to gain them.
Yeah. Cary, what would you say your biggest challenges are running the business? Is it have to do with recruiting? Does it have to do with like retaining staff? If you could outline what your biggest challenges are running a business, what would they be?
I'd say the biggest challenges are really an uneducated public, and there's only so much you can do about that. I mean, I'll put it this way. I've never tried to, nor would I. I don't want to be someone's first gym they join. I want to be the last one. And my customer, it's funny, there used to be, when I was growing up, there was a place called Sims that was a clothing store, and their slogan was an educated customer is our best, customer, whatever. That's it. I mean, which is the same for me, but people usually don't educate it until they aren't educated in the fitness industry until they've suffered through some of the big box clubs. And then they realize, I don't want this. But they don't know there's something different out there either, though.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't know what you have until it's gone, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, look, most gyms, independently owned ones, obviously, they're not really discovered until the big box gym disappoints the person, and then they try you. And then if there's 3 or 4 of you competing for the same educated customer, the only time people really change gyms is if they've disappointed you so much that you're now seeking something else, or they close. So honestly, the goal as a private entity gym, a smaller run business, if you only have 1, 2, or 3 locations, something like that, would be just don't lose customers. Once you have them, don't lose them. That should be your goal, because you're going to get new ones. You're always going to get new ones. Don't lose the ones you have.
So, Cary, we noticed you're pretty active with your media. You have a lot of videos on your website, on your Instagram, on your LinkedIn. Do you do that all in?
Branding, man. I do that myself. I have no
Do
idea
you?
what I'm doing. I have no idea
okay.
what I'm doing. I honestly, I put out what appeals to me.
And
I have a list of, I don't know, a couple hundred hashtags and I update the list every 6 months about what the most popular hashtags in the industry are. And you can pull those off. You can Google it and get them. And so I just rotate those through. I mean, I'm always surprised, I'll put up a video on YouTube or whatever, and one video will get 47 views, and the next one I put up gets 6,000. I have no rhyme or reason why.
Yeah, the science behind it, right?
And I also know, this is what I also know, and I'll take this to my grave. I don't care how many people try to sell me differently. Social media for one club, one business, never will get you a customer, ever. The only way that works is if you have multiple locations where you can kind of throw shit up against the wall and hope it hits somebody.
Somebody will stick.
But social media, look, this is why I don't pay for anyone to do it, because it doesn't make a difference. It's all for branding. So it's all for branding. And the branding for me is purely, what do I want to say to the world about this place? And if it's 6 people or 600 see it, I'm good. Doesn't matter. I just need to be out there and active, so at least if you're following us and you're a member and you're a friend of yours is a member and maybe they repost it or like it, you might notice. I mean, again, the vast majority of new members that we get are referrals from our current members. But again, if you're going, the demographic that I serve is not on social media anyway. Look, I'm 59, right? I'm a young 59 in a way, but my average customer is in my demo. They're not on Instagram and TikTok. They're not. They might be on Facebook. And that tells you everything, because if you have kids, none of your kids are on Facebook. Nobody uses Facebook anymore. So my customers are on Facebook. So they're on a dead social media. They're not on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat. They're not on any of those. They don't even have them on their phone. So they might have Instagram, but they wouldn't know how to use it, right?
Rarely
They're Facebook people. I will tell you this. I'm probably one of the only clubs in the country that there's never been anyone in there with a tripod filming their workout. Nobody does that here. They don't even probably have a tripod.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even know how to reverse the camera on the phone to get it to do it. I mean, so I look at it this way. My social media presence is honestly so that we show up on the Google search without having to pay for placement, because the more you post and the way you post is part of the Google formula to get you on the first page.
Yeah, the indexing.
So I'm always like on the first page, right below those 3 people that are dumb enough to pay for the placement.
The sponsored ads.
Yeah, exactly. The 3 sponsored ads, and then we're usually next. And I've never paid a penny. So I mean, I'm no marketing genius, but I know what wasting money is. So I do everything to not waste money. Gym business is not a business that you have this huge margin, right? People in the gym business aren't making 75% on their money. If you're operating well, you're doing 15 to 20%. I mean, which obviously beats just leaving it in the stock market. I mean, year over year, you probably don't make 15%, especially nowadays. But that's. If again, smart money is. That's why, as a consultant in this industry, I've always looked at people's businesses and I'm like, well, how much money are you making? Do you want to invest $250,000, $500,000 to make 8% on it? Just put it in the bank. You're risking all of this money for a business that you're barely going to make money on. If you have $500,000, maybe you should just invest it. So unless you've designed a system that's going to make more than 10 or 12%, it doesn't make sense to do it.
Yeah. A lot of businesses just have razor thin margins. And
the owner is working their ass off 60, 70 hours just so they don't go under. Well, I set my business. Look, I work 20, 25 hours a week. I'm here enough so that everyone that's a member knows that the owner's here, and they know that I'm in charge and that I take care of things and all that. But I'm not killing myself.
Yeah, no, I mean, you got to enjoy life too, right?
Yeah, and especially I think COVID made that very clear for a lot of people as well, is that, wait a second, why am I killing myself 80 hours a week? And then COVID comes and you realize I didn't work at all and I still survived. So I looked at it during COVID, I really looked at it like, wait a second. Do I need to work 40 hours a week? Do I need to work 50 hours a week? How much more money do I really make working twice as much? And I started looking at it mentally, like, isn't it worth it to me to be home at 5 o'clock every day rather than 7 o'clock every day? Like, what am I really getting out of putting those extra hours in? not
Yeah, it
much
takes a
more.
mental toll, physical toll,
Yeah.
putting in all those hours
And
and
I
not.
and I kind of worked that much, not because I had to, because I just was like, okay, I might as well be here and not pay someone. I might as well be here those extra couple hours, and then I don't have to pay someone to do the front desk when I'm here. And then I realized, what's the difference? What's an extra $30 a day or whatever it is, in payroll?
Yeah, a few hours.
Is that $150 a week changing my life? No.
But having that time back
Yeah, the time,
does.
especially during COVID, because there was nothing to do, right? So I've always, I used to travel to Europe a lot when I was a kid. So you know how scooters are very prevalent over there. So I've had a scooter as an adult my whole life, like what do you call
Are
them?
we talking like a Vespa?
Yeah, like a Vespa. I've always had one.
Okay,
I've always had one.
love it.
I buy a Chinese version, or whatever. They're half as much money and they last longer anyway. But I've always had one. So during COVID. I was going on rides. I always used to tool around, but when I had kids, you don't have time and whatever. But during COVID, I would every day, because I was out of here early. I would go for an hour and a half ride, get some sun, whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to give that up. I want to get out of here at 4 o'clock and be able to do whatever the hell I want the rest of the day. If you're done with work at 4, you got a lot of sunlight. You still have 3 or 4 hours of sunlight to do whatever you want. So I was
Especially
like,
in your sunshine state.
yeah, exactly. We're in Miami, obviously. So I was like, why do I like this? Why would I give that up? I like this extra time that I have. I'm going to make sure I keep that extra time. So I did. Look, travel is in my blood. When tennis is one of those sports that you travel a lot, right? I mean, and you travel worldwide. It's not just in your own state or, country. So I just decided also during COVID, you know what? I'm going to go back to traveling and go someplace at least once a month. I'm not gonna not do that anymore. So since 2020, I do that. I take 5 or 6 days off, to go on a trip almost every month.
Do you still travel a lot?
Yeah. I'm leaving. I'm going Wednesday to Barbados.
Oh, nice. Enjoy.
I mean, look, people here always laugh like, "Oh, you're always traveling." I go, "Why wouldn't I?"
Yeah, life is short.
So yeah.
So what's
that's
next?
what
What's next for Club X over the next 6 to 12 months?
Over the next 6 to 12 months, I think it's literally the same that I tell myself every day. Do what we do well, and just don't lose focus on making sure the people that walk in these doors enjoy their experience. I mean, because the bottom line, and I tell this, we have some interns coming in this summer because we do it every year for, like, Miami-Dade County Schools has an internship program. So we have 12 high schoolers coming in that they work here for like 5 weeks.
Nice.
And I just had a meeting with them, and I tell them and anyone else that comes in, this is the reality. I'm in a business that not really the vast majority of people that come here don't enjoy it. I mean, how many people? What's the percentage of people that actually enjoy working out? I'm one of those 7% of the people that love it. I've always done it since I was 10. It's who I am. I like the physicality of it. I like it. I look forward to working out. And again, I'm not a bodybuilder or anything. I just look,
Like being
being
active.
sweaty and working hard is just something that I've always thought is an accomplishment for the day, right? So, but I look at it this way: the vast majority of people who are my customers don't like it, right? So where are the opportunities in this business to get them to like it? I think there's 3. When they come in, that 30 seconds that they're engaging with you at the front desk when they come in, the random conversations they have with other members or other staff members while they're in there for their hour and a half, and then the 15, 30 seconds on their way out, right? So you better, as a business, you can control 100% the interactions on the way in and the way out, right? You can't control the interactions with fellow members, right? But you can control the type of people that are here, which will increase the opportunity for those interactions to be really good.
Very
and
good.
I think you control the type of people that are your customers by several things. You can control the interaction on the way in and on the way out. You can influence the interaction while they're in there with your customers. And the way you do that is by creating an environment of customers that all get along, right? So there's a couple ways to create that. Price point does it a little bit, right? You have a different type of person who pays $9.99 for a gym versus that pays $100 for a gym versus that pays $200 for a gym every month. It's pretty stark. You see the difference. It's not like guesswork. It's pretty obvious if you go to those different clubs with those different price points. You see exactly the difference in the people. Okay.
Got
And
it.
that's not everybody, but in general, right? So your price point will control the type of person somewhat. And then how you treat them controls how they are when they're in here. So you can influence those conversations. And like I said, you can increase the opportunity and the idea that the conversations they have with their fellow members are good ones if the fellow members are happy to be there.
Now,
And that's
what about your staff, Cary? How do you source
Well,
your staff
that's
and
also, that's how do you influence your staff? I think you hire good people, and then good people don't need to be trained how to be good.
right? You
I
hire
mean,
them because they're good, right?
it's not easy. The gym business, but I will tell you, in general, most people that want to be in the gym business are people, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't gravitate towards that type of work. They'd be in an office, being an accountant who doesn't have to deal with people except once a day. I mean, people who like people are usually gym people. Now, the hard part of that is finding those people that are people that are consistent and will do the job almost as well as you would do it yourself. I'm not a people person. I mean, I'm not. I pretend really well.
Seem very personable.
Yeah, no, I didn't say I wasn't personable,
Yeah.
but I don't like people.
Yeah.
Like all of us, right? I like I love my dog. I mean,
Right.
people, but you learn over time in being in this business, you learn how it's show business, right? It's put on a show. So I try to talk, that's the kind of conversations I have with staff. First of all, I mean, my staff, they're way better at this than me. They just don't know it, right? They're better. Everyone loves them. All of the people that work for me, all of my members love them. They don't love me. I know they don't. Some may like me, but I'm not the so nice to see you. I mean, I can pretend, but my people that work for me are genuinely like that. Oh my gosh, so nice to see you, and how was your trip? And I mean, I do that because that's what's required in the job, right?
Right.
I'm happy that you paid your dues while you were gone, and have a great workout. If you work for me, or I would say any fitness club, if you work, you should know that a person that always comes Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 4 p.m. hasn't been here for a week. You should notice if you work here that they weren't here. So when they come back, you should be like, hey, how are you? How was the trip? Did you go away? Were you sick? Whatever. If you don't know in advance that they're going away, right? Now, I'm very blessed and grateful that I got to travel the world multiple times over, right? So I have experiences that helps me a great deal with my clientele, because when they tell me they're going to go to Australia, or they tell me they're going to go to Norway or whatever, I have a reference to say, oh, I was there, you should check out this place, you should look at this place. I have an ability to operate in their level, in their world, because I've already experienced all of those things. So when they tell me, here's a perfect example. That's why probably France was. I had 3 members 2 weeks ago were like, oh, we're going to Paris, we're going to France, and we're going to go to the French Open. And I was like, you should have told me. Because I still have connections. I can get them, player passes or whatever. And they're like, oh, I didn't know. Because I don't really talk about it much. They're like, I didn't know you had anything to do with tennis. And I was actually surprised that they didn't know, because almost everyone here knows just from time people talking. And they're like, all 3 of these different people, they literally said to me, you play tennis? And I'm like, well, I used to. I mean, I don't know. Tell me, are you guys in the business?
So I was a former gym owner myself. You're talking about
Okay.
fitness, right? Yeah. So I used to
Yeah.
own. Yeah, I used to own. I don't know if they have them out there, but Fit Body Boot Camp,
I know.
yeah, that was a franchise. So
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the time, my ex-wife and I, we bought it 2019, right before the pandemic hit, right? And so we bought it from
Yeah,
the
good
existing owner.
timing.
Yeah, yeah, great.
Good timing
So
for you to
needless
have
to
like
say,
a
yeah.
nice sweaty 30 people breathing heavily all in the same place, man. Good
Exactly. Yeah,
job.
yeah. So needless to say, the pandemic hit, and then unfortunately we weren't able to stay in the business. So, yeah. So what I do now is it's kind of like, because I love, I'm a personal trainer myself, and I love coaching and I love
Yeah.
helping people. So I have my little side gig at another boutique training gym, and I do it mostly because I enjoy it, and I do it because I love working out myself, and plus I get a free membership. So that's my background
Well,
on that.
look,
Yeah.
that's how I ended up in this business, because I got a free membership
Yeah.
for working the counter at Gold's Gym. I
That
mean,
was a great
honestly,
story.
I had no plans ever to be in the fitness business.
Yeah, it's kind
I
of
was
how it
going to be a
happens. And
world
sometimes you fall
famous.
into
I
it.
was going to be a world famous tennis player that everybody heard of. That was my plan.
Yeah.
Z is running and operating fitness clubs. It's just how it
Well,
works.
you ended up at a very nice spot to do so.
Yeah,
So
and another good part of this particular business is I've had both my kids work here. You know, before they went off to college and stuff, they worked here in high school. My son happens to stay in Miami to go to college, so he still works here. My daughter works when she's home for the summer. So one of those things is my members have all seen my kids grow up from the age of 8 and 5 to 21 and 19. And so those are the type of experiences that people value, and it's never about the workout. It's not.
about the
People
community.
don't even care if they get in shape, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, like you positioned your gym as a community gym, and I think that's
Yeah,
what
it's a
you're
community gym. I will
providing.
tell you this. It's a community gym and because this is the demographic you should go for, it's a community gym for people that have a lot of discretionary income.
A lot of
Because
what? I'm sorry.
A lot of discretionary income.
Yeah.
That's why I don't understand why someone would ever model to like go after people that don't have a lot of money. It doesn't make sense to me. If you're going to be in the business of anything, why would you want low income clients?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, you
they're
need to
going for
target the right people.
quantity over quality.
I mean, I understand everybody can join if it costs $10. I get it. I totally get it. But man, is it hard to make money when someone values what you do at $10, how are you going to get more money out of them? It's going to be really hard. And if they're paying $10 for a membership, how much money can you really charge for personal training?
Yeah.
Yeah, not
Can you
much.
really charge $100 a session? I don't think so.
They're telling you their budget right from the start.
Right. They're also telling you not even the budget, how much they value it.
That's
Yeah.
true.
And that's more important than budget. It's how much do I value this? It's the same difference between someone who will go to Outback Steakhouse versus a Prime 112.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna make the analogy for fast food, but you took it to the next level there with the
It's the
steaks.
same. I mean, what are you if money isn't an object, what are you feeding your kids?
Yeah, the best,
Organic,
nutritional.
farm to table, whatever.
Right.
If money's not an object, right? Right? Every parent in the world would do the same. Okay, fitness is the same. It's not a necessary expense. Food is, that's different. But fitness is a choice. So market to people that have the ability to make a choice between spending X times 10 versus X times 5 versus X. I like operating in the middle. I think the Uber exclusive, those aren't my people. I don't like people of that ilk myself personally. As I'm not a people person, it's really tough to deal with people that live in a world of expectation.
Yeah, high expectations, really high.
I'd rather operate in the world of people that could pay that much but choose the value here.
Yeah.
Because I could join XYZ club for $300 a month. I could, but I don't think it's worth it. So I'm going to join this club at $100 a month and then spend that other $200 on something in the club. I'm spending the same amount of money,
But you're getting more.
but I'm getting more for it.
Well, Cary. Well, we're at time, Cary. We really appreciate your
Really,
time.
I can go on all day now.
No, this has been amazing. We appreciate that you taking the time. So what we're going to do next is after we record this episode, our AI tools are going to analyze the transcript. What we're going to do is we're going to send over a
They're going
summary
to
with
cut
like,
out so much of what I said.
yeah. So it's going to send you like a summary with key insights, right? What it does is it analyzes ways that you can deepen member loyalty, streamline operations, integrate tech into coaching and things like that. So we're going to send that to you as a thank you for being on the episode, and that's completely free of charge. So look out for that. We'll also send you a link to the episode, and
Yeah,
so
no,
that
because
you can.
I'll put the link. I'll put the link up on my website, so like under our media or whatever.
Awesome. And yeah, and you can definitely reach out, Cary, if you want edits or stills or something like that.